I wasn't mad that my wife had a close coworker. I got scared when she started hiding her phone like it was evidence. AITA for asking my wife to choose between our marriage and her coworker? I'm a 34-year-old man. I've been married to my wife, Laura, for 7 years. Until last year, I trusted her completely. Then she started a new job in marketing. That's when Ethan appeared. At first, he was just a name. Ethan agreed with my idea. Ethan helped me with the presentation. Ethan stayed late too. Normal work stuff. Or so I thought. But slowly, his name stopped sounding normal. She laughed at her phone more. She stopped sharing details with me. And when I asked simple questions, she gave shorter answers. One night, during dinner, her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. Smiled. Then flipped the phone face down. That moment stuck with me. I didn't accuse her. I didn't argue. I just asked. Everything okay? She said yes. Too quickly. After that, things got worse. She worked late more often. She was too tired for date nights. Too busy for conversations. But never too tired for after-work drinks. Drinks that Ethan was always part of. Then I saw the message. Her phone was charging. Unlocked. A notification popped up. I wish we didn't have to pretend at work. My chest tightened. When I asked her about it, she exploded. She said I violated her privacy. She said I was insecure. She said Ethan was just a friend. So I asked one question. Do you tell him things you don't tell me? She didn't answer. That silence was louder than any confession. I told her I wasn't accusing her of cheating. But I was saying this crossed emotional boundaries. I asked her to set limits. No private texting. No one-on-one hangouts outside work. She said I was controlling. I said, "You're treating another man like your partner." That turned into a full argument. Finally, I said something I never planned to say. If you can't step back from him, I don't know how this marriage survives. She cried. She said I was forcing her. She slept on the couch. The next day, she agreed to pull back. But she also said yes. He didn't believe she did anything wrong. Now our home feels colder. Quieter. And I can't shake the feeling that I noticed the problem too late. So Reddit. AITA for asking my wife to choose between our marriage and her coworker? Everyone told me I was paranoid, until I realized I was the only one not invited into my own marriage. AITA for leaving my marriage after realizing I was the third wheel? I'm 39 years old. Married for 10 years. 2 kids. From the outside, our marriage looked stable. Inside, something was missing. My wife, Amanda, started a new job. That's where she met Ryan. She called him like a brother. That phrase should have scared me more than it did. Ryan knew about her stress. Her doubts. Her dreams. I found out because she stopped sharing those things with me. When I asked if something was wrong, she said I was overthinking. When I suggested counseling, she said we weren't that bad. But Ryan was everywhere. Inside jokes I didn't understand. Advice she trusted more than mine. Messages she answered immediately. One night, during family dinner, she was texting under the table. I asked who it was. She sighed and said, "Ryan. He's having a rough night." I remember thinking, when did his rough nights become more important than mine? I tried to be patient. I tried to trust her. Then came the moment that broke me. I told her I felt invisible. She laughed softly and said, "You just need more hobbies." That same night, I heard her laughing in the bedroom. On the phone. With Ryan. The next morning, I packed a bag and left. When she realized I was serious, she panicked. She said nothing physical happened. She said Ryan was just emotional support. I told her. That's exactly the problem. You gave him what was supposed to be ours. Her friend said I was jealous. My parents said I was dramatic. But I didn't leave because she cheated. I left because I was no longer her partner. Just her roommate. Now we're separated. She says she finally understands how much she hurt me. I don't know if understanding came too late. So Reddit. AITA for walking away when my wife said it was just a coworker. I trained my whole life for this fight, then I found out it was rigged, and I was chosen to lose because of my skin color. AITA for exposing a fake championship fight after I realized I was set up to lose because I'm black. I never thought I'd be the guy posting on Reddit, but here I am. I'm a black man in my late 20s, and I've been involved in semi-professional combat sports for most of my adult life. Not the flashy, million-dollar kind, the gritty kind. Local promotions. Small arenas. Folding chairs. Cheap lights. But it mattered to me. I trained hard. I showed up early. I stayed late. I didn't drink. I didn't party. This sport was my way out of a life where expectations were always low and obstacles were always high. When I finally got offered a title fight, I felt like everything had paid off. The promoter told me it would be the biggest event they'd ever hosted. Posters everywhere. Streaming deal. A real chance to be seen. My opponent was a popular local fighter. White. Charismatic. From a well-known gym. The kind of guy sponsors loved. At first, everything felt normal. But then the comments started. Crowd's not really here for you. You know how these things go. Just play your role and you'll get more opportunities. I laughed it off. I thought it was nerves. Trash talk. Mind games. 2 weeks before the fight, my coach pulled me aside. He looked uncomfortable. He told me the promoter had approached him privately. They didn't want me to win. Not because I wasn't good enough, but because I wasn't marketable. The word stuck with me. Marketable. They wanted the hometown guy to keep the belt. They wanted a clean narrative. A hero they could sell. And I was supposed to be the dangerous challenger who falls just short. My coach said they hinted that if I cooperated, I'd get more fights, better pay, maybe even a rematch someday. If I didn't, they could make my life very difficult. I felt sick. I asked directly if this was about race. My coach didn't answer. He just shrugged and said, "You know how this industry is." I thought about walking away. But I also thought about the years I'd already given. The injuries. The sacrifices. The fact that people like me don't get many chances. So I fought. And from the first round, it was obvious something was wrong. Judges ignored clean shots. The crowd booed whenever I scored. The referee broke up clinches that favored me but let my opponent lean and stall. By the final bell, I knew. They gave him the win. Unanimous decision. Backstage, the promoter smiled and told me I did great and that I should be proud. That night, I couldn't sleep. A week later, I posted everything online. The messages. The conversations. The pressure. I didn't name names at first, just told my story. It exploded. Some people supported me. Others said I was bitter. A sore loser. Playing the race card. The promotion dropped me immediately. Now, fighters are split. Some say I did the right thing. Others say I broke an unspoken rule and hurt everyone's careers. So here I am. AITA for exposing a rigged sports fight after realizing I was set up to lose because I'm black. They called it just business, but I realized the rules only changed when a black athlete started winning. AITA for refusing to participate in entertainment matches after I realized the rules only changed when I started winning. I'm a black athlete in my early 30s, and for years I competed in a niche sport that mixes real competition with entertainment. Think skill-based, physical, and highly controlled. When I joined, I was told everything was fair. The best performer wins. That's it. At first, I lost a lot. No one cared. I was just another guy on the roster. Then I improved. I trained smarter. Studied footage. Took it seriously. I started winning. Suddenly, meetings happened without me. Rules changed overnight. Point systems were adjusted. Matches were shortened. New restrictions appeared, always ones that limited my strengths. When I asked why, I was told it was for balance. But I noticed something. These changes never applied to certain athletes. Mostly white athletes. Mostly the ones with bigger social media followings. One producer joked once, fans like underdogs, but not that much. I kept my head down. Until one event. I dominated. Clearly. Undeniably. And they still gave the win to my opponent. Afterward, a staff member quietly told me the truth. They didn't expect me to become this good. They didn't want me as the face of the brand. Not because I was rude. Not because I was unprofessional. But because I didn't fit the image. They wanted me to lose just enough to stay impressive, but never enough to take over. Next event, they asked me to tone it down. To miss opportunities. To make it closer. I said no. I told them if the competition wasn't real, I wouldn't be part of it. They accused me of being difficult. Of not understanding the business. Of trying to ruin opportunities for others. When I walked away, they replaced me immediately and told fans I couldn't handle the pressure. Some fellow athletes say I should have played along. Others quietly thanked me. Now my career is uncertain, but my conscience is clear. So Reddit. AITA for refusing to participate in fake sports matches after realizing the rules only changed when a black athlete started winning. Everyone calls me heartless for how I became rich, but no one asks what poverty taught me. AITA for becoming a billionaire and leaving everyone behind. I grew up in a house where silence meant hunger. Not the dramatic kind people like to romanticize, but the quiet, uncomfortable kind where you learn early not to ask questions like, "What's for dinner?" because the answer might be nothing. My parents worked hard, but hard work didn't seem to translate into stability for us. Bills came first. Everything else came last. By the time I was 12, I understood something most adults still struggle with: money wasn't just money. It was safety. It was dignity. It was the difference between being invisible and being respected. So I decided, very early, that I would never be poor again. At school, I wasn't popular. I wasn't athletic. I wasn't charismatic. But I was observant. While other kids joked around, I watched patterns. Who had influence? Who controlled resources? Who got ignored? In college, I worked 3 jobs and slept 4 hours a night. I skipped parties, birthdays, even my own graduation celebration. My friends said I was obsessed. My girlfriend said I was emotionally unavailable. They weren't wrong. After college, I started my first business. It failed. Then the second one failed harder. By the third, I had learned something important: emotion was expensive. Detachment was profitable. I stopped explaining myself to people who didn't understand my vision. When friends asked for time, I gave excuses. When family asked for help, I gave lectures instead of money. I told myself I was building something bigger, something that would eventually justify everything I was sacrificing. Then it happened. My company scaled faster than anyone expected. Investors showed up. Media attention followed. Overnight, my bank account gained more zeros than I could process. At 36, I crossed into billionaire territory. People congratulated me like I had won the lottery. But the truth was uglier. I had become ruthless. I fired people without blinking. I walked away from partnerships the moment they slowed me down. I ignored calls from my parents because I didn't have time. Success didn't make me happy. It made me focused. The backlash came quietly at first. My sister told me I had changed. Old friends stopped inviting me places. My parents said I talked to them like employees, not family. The final straw was my best friend from childhood. He confronted me, saying I used people as stepping stones. That I treated relationships like transactions. That I had become the exact kind of person we used to criticize. I told him something I had never said out loud before. I didn't climb out of poverty to stay emotionally comfortable. He walked out. Now, years later, I sit in a penthouse overlooking a city I barely feel connected to. I have wealth beyond imagination, and a phone that rarely rings. People online say I'm a monster. That no amount of money excuses abandoning everyone who supported me early on. But I didn't abandon them. I just refused to slow down. So tell me, Reddit. AITA for becoming a billionaire even if it meant leaving everyone behind? I didn't lose my fortune overnight. I lost it the moment I stopped listening. AITA for losing everything after ignoring every warning sign? When you reach the top, people stop telling you the truth. They smile more. They hesitate before disagreeing. They start saying things like, "You probably know better," even when they don't believe it. I mistook that silence for respect. After becoming a billionaire, I thought I had cracked some universal code. That my instincts were superior. That failure was something that happened to other people, people who weren't disciplined enough, bold enough, or smart enough. I stopped listening to advisors. I replaced experienced managers with loyal ones. I believed loyalty was safer than expertise. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was arrogance disguised as confidence. I began investing in industries I didn't understand because I assumed intelligence transferred automatically. When analysts raised concerns, I dismissed them as fear-based thinking. Then came the warning signs. Cash flow tightened. Projects ran late. Lawsuits appeared quietly at first, then loudly. I blamed external factors, markets, competitors, regulations. Never myself. The real collapse didn't happen in public. It happened internally. Key people left. Partners pulled out. Banks stopped returning calls. I still remember the moment it became real. I was sitting alone in my office when my CFO told me we were insolvent. Just like that. No dramatic explosion. No headlines yet. Just a sentence that erased decades of effort. I tried to recover. I made desperate deals. Sold assets too late. Trusted the wrong people out of fear of being alone. Within a year, it was gone. The money. The companies. The influence. People who once praised my discipline now called me reckless. The same friends I had pushed away didn't rush back to comfort me. I didn't expect them to. The hardest part wasn't losing luxury. It was losing identity. Without success, I didn't know who I was. I had built my entire worth on winning, and I had lost. Now I live quietly. Smaller apartment. No assistants. No security. Just time to think about every ignored email, every dismissed warning, every moment I chose pride over humility. Some people say I deserved it. That losing everything was karma for how I treated others. Others say failure is part of the game, and I'm being too hard on myself. But I keep asking one question. If I had listened. If I had slowed down. If I had remembered I wasn't invincible. Would I still have everything? So Reddit, AITA for losing everything because I thought I couldn't fail?